there are three main requirements which have temporal phases, and I'll deal with the temporal phases second. But for now, what I would say is there needs to be a generative faculty. That is, that allows something to come into being. It is not crowding it out with already conceived ideas. It's not attempting to clarify it too early, to have the detail too early in the process. It's not saying, I don't see how that works, let's dismiss that. Or this seems to be very ambivalent, I don't know which way it's going to go. There's two opposites here that need to be clarified. Which one? All those trying to clarify it too early is unhelpful. So what one needs is a mind that is capable of being still enough and receptive enough to allow something new to come into being, not crowding it out by attempts to make it happen or thoughts about why it's happening or why it's not happening and so on. Then I suppose there is what I would call the permissive qualities, which are really part of getting out of the way of this process. You can't, I often use the image of gardening because it's very close to my heart. There's a garden here just outside my window. And a gardener cannot make a plant, for sure. A gardener can't even make a plant grow. The plant makes itself grow. But what the gardener does is either create the circumstances in which that plant can thrive or fail to make it and choke or stifle the plant so that it can't grow to the best of its ability and capacity. So it's a bit like that. Most of the advice is don't do certain things, and that permissive element is very important. And those things, those are faculties that we need to have, the generative, the ability to make connections, to see new shapes, to avoid over-verbalizing, and letting the thing be and accepting it for a while until it declares itself more clearly. And the other is translational, which is the ability to carry this over. So you have initial insight. There are many examples of this in science where people had an insight one night walking home from the lab, suddenly sees something in the sky. This astronomer that's been looking at it for a decade or so and suddenly sees an insight that what he's trying to describe here has to do fundamentally with the helix, with helices. So that's fine, but it's then turning it into a more explicit theory that can be tested. And we know from many accounts, perhaps some of the most famous are those of Einstein and those of Poincaré, French mathematician, where they describe in their lives how they strove for these things, and then suddenly when they were doing something else, like playing the piano or going shopping, the idea came, and then it took them weeks or months to be able to as we would say, retrace the steps by which they achieved it, but they never achieved it by those steps. They achieved it in a different way and are now describing the way in which someone else would be able to get there by using those steps.